Hello, fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. I have found the first wild and forgotten mind bender of 2025, and that is Kate Wilhelm's The Plastic Abyss. This is one of two novellas in the book titled Abyss by Kate Wilhelm, which came out in 1971. Kate Wilhelm is best known for the novel Where the Sweet Bird Sang, which is on my to-be-read list and has moved up quite a bit after reading this novella because it was really, really good. All right, let me give you a quick synopsis. This is the second time I've recorded this video because I had such a hard time with the synopsis in the first one. Hopefully this time it will go a lot easier. This is the story of a couple, a woman named Dorothy and a man named Gary, who are recently married. And Gary works for a company that has invented a type of material which sucks in all available radiation. Anything from starlight to sunlight to artificial light to radio waves. It's this material that sucks all of this in and creates energy because of it. However, the side effect of this is that this material creates an abyss, kind of like a black hole, this weird, like whatever the shape or size of the material is, will be this blackness, this abyss-like blackness. And what Gary has realized is if you project an image or a video or anything onto this blackness, that the abyss disappears and all people can see is what is projected on the abyss, and it seems super real. And this invention is kind of a metaphor for this entire book. So it centers mainly around Dorothy, and Dorothy is experiencing moments that don't make sense to her. The first one we get is she is walking along the beach and she's staring out at the ocean, and the waves start to look like hallways to her, and the moon reflected on the water starts to look like the floor of these hallways, and she ends up walking into the ocean. But to her, it's this hallway that she's walking in, and it has turns and curves, and she'll walk like this and then end up miles away from her house without even realizing how far she'd gone. This is a book that deals very heavily with the concept of perception, the difference of how each person perceives the world. It also deals with consciousness, what it means to be a thinking, existing being. This book was incredible. And I know that synopsis isn't a lot to go on, but every page of this novella was incredible and filled with so much weirdness. I can't recommend this enough. This is perfect for our channel. You know, we're always looking for the weirdest stuff we can find, and this qualifies. But as you know from my ranking of last year's books, I'm also kind of picky about my weirdness. I don't want just weirdness for the sake of weirdness. I want weirdness that is like a riddle that we can figure out, that adds depth to a story. And this is one of those. Absolutely. There's so much in these short 73 pages of this novella, and it's a blast. And it's not even that hard of a read. It's really enjoyable, of course, very quick. The characters are very well developed. It's awesome to read science fiction from the point of view of a woman, and she really has an incredible point of view. The way that she looks at characters is really wild. So yes, I absolutely recommend this book. Kate Wilhelm wrote a lot of science fiction. She didn't write just science fiction. She also wrote a lot of murder mysteries. She married and then divorced and eventually remarried Damon Knight, who's another big, important sci-fi person. And they started a ton of workshops together. And even after Damon Knight passed away, Kate Wilhelm still continued to do these workshops. And I think she passed away, Kate Wilhelm, I think she passed away in 2018. But even after Damon Knight passed away, she continued to do these workshops and was really involved in writing all of her life. The publication of this book is interesting because the story in it, the second story, which I haven't read yet, called The Stranger in the House, she published in a magazine, and I'll get into that when I read The Stranger in the House, and really gave it a chance to shine. And then she was going to publish The Stranger in the House in a novel, and she just threw in The Plastic Abyss in front of this, so it became a book of 2 novellas called Abyss. And I'm sad that she never really gave The Plastic Abyss the chance to shine in magazines. It just came out in this book in 1971. Of course, there was a hardback before this one. And then this is the first paperback. And then it wasn't, I think it's had a publication in 2013. That's the only other time this book has been published. And I think it would have done better if she would have tried to put it in a magazine. I don't know, and maybe none of the magazines would take it. I don't know what the process was with that. But I do know that in 1992, it was nominated for a Nebula. It didn't win, but it was nominated for a Nebula award in 1992. So I think that it could have done better if it had been given just a little bit more attention. Because, like I said, it was wild. Okay, so I've already talked a little bit about the parts that were working, the character development. Having a unique point of view of a female science fiction writer is always awesome. It also had a really interesting point of view throughout the book. So it starts from Dorothy's point of view, and then it goes to Gary's point of view, and it moves through all these different characters' points of view. And it has very separate section for each of these different points of view, but as the novel goes on, it just kind of swirls into an omniscient point of view where the writer can just bounce around to all the different characters' heads. And I don't want to say this is a complicated read, but it is a read that you have to pay attention to, because sometimes those point of view switches can happen pretty abruptly, and she always kind of marks each switch by saying the person's name that it's switched to in the next sentence, but sometimes those point of view shifts can be a little bit jarring, so you have to really pay attention when you're reading. But really, that's all I can think of negative to say about this novel. And honestly, for me, that wasn't a negative. I really liked the point of view switching. It was really, really interesting. But it just means that you have to really pay attention to the text as you're reading it. This is one that I can't, and this is the problem I had with the last video I made as well. This is one that I can't find a hook that I can say that will make you want to read this. So I have to say, in this case, you really just have to trust me and give this one a read, because it's incredible. If you like any of the old mind-bending stuff we've been talking about on the channel, this deserves a place right there with them. It is absolutely astounding fiction. It's really, really incredible. I went and checked on eBay. There's a ton of copies of this. I would go grab them. I hope this explodes and a lot of people read this and love this. This will probably be very high up on my ranking of 2025 videos next year. So yeah, really incredible read. I am going to do a deep reading on this. I've already recorded it. It was a ton of fun. So you can expect that in a couple of days. And that's about it. It's a very short one, but it's so hard to find a way to present this with a good hook. It's incredible. Give it a read. I think that the type of people that watch this channel, absolutely going to love this. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.